forget to switch this. All I need to do is look at the actual time and to mark down the report. So at least there's one less thing I have to worry about.
Hi, Yuki. Good to see you.
Hi, Abby.
Two minutes warning. Hi, Paula. Paula, I love the hat. Looks like the Queen of England has just arrived.
It's called a bad hair day. With a no COVID haircut, bad hair days are every day.
Well, not really. Look at Solazar.
Well,
Hello, Ray. Great to have you. Even if Ray wants to give us a feedback, we would love to hear from Ray.
Is Ray one of our panelists?
No, but it's nice to always. Ray, would you like to participate?
I don't. I'll just watch.
Okay.
I'll lurk a little bit.
Perfect. We start in 1 minute. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abhijit Joshi. Today we have Division Got Talent, table topics with feedback. Without further ado, let me introduce our Toastmaster for today. He is the newest humorous speech district champion. He's a two-time distinguished Toastmaster, and he belongs to 4 clubs. Let me introduce Declan Shalvey. Declan, it's all you.
Thank you very much, Abhijit. You've just taken 5 minutes of my personal introduction away from me. Again, my name is Declan Shalvey. You're welcome to this session today. When I joined Toastmasters 7 years ago, as Abhijit suggested, I had no issue with prepared speeches. After all, we can choose the date and the hour and the subject for our speeches. I didn't have too much trouble with evaluations. After all we have to do is listen carefully and feedback what we liked and perhaps what we thought might be better. Evaluations weren't too difficult. For me, the most difficult piece was impromptu speaking, or table topics as we call it. And I'm hopeful that at the end of today's session, you will become a little bit more comfortable dealing with table topics and perhaps even impromptu speaking in the real world. We have 4 judges today who will evaluate and provide feedback to the guinea pigs, the test contestants who will answer questions today. The judges, let me introduce those judges briefly. Our first is Evelyn Lee. Evelyn is an advanced communicator gold level Toastmaster. She's been in Toastmasters for 14 years. And what I think is most interesting about Evelyn is she really likes to analyze a speech, take it apart, break it into its core elements, then put it together in hopefully a better form that engages the audiences, holds their attention, or inspires them, or whatever the speech purpose. Our second, I'm not sure if our second judge today is Solazar. Now, Solazar Delaporte is the founder of Magic for Life which is an LLC. And this business offers training and education in the areas of leadership, customer service, and communication. Solazar has been in Toastmasters 25 years. And during that time, he's developed a passion for helping Toastmaster members find their inner voice and finding their ability to express themselves. Now, our second from last judge today is Dennis Dawson. I don't know if Dennis is online yet. There he is.
That's because
Hi,
you're
Dennis.
blind, you old fool. Ha ha.
There you go. I already see one fool on the screen and I wasn't expecting a second. Dennis is a 14-year Toastmaster. He has 2 DTMs. He has served in multiple roles, division director, countless club officer roles, I'm sure a district and division and district as well. He was he is a past division governor for Area 57. He has participated in multiple contests. He has won the district in humorous tall tales and evaluations. I did omit to mention that that Evelyn, I'm sorry for skipping that, Evelyn. Evelyn has placed at least 2 times in the humorous speech contest at district level and once at evaluation level. Lastly, I'm 7 years in Toastmasters, 2-time DTM. Recently was fortunate enough to win the humorous contest in District 101. And I've also got a district in Tall Tales. I know that many of you would be totally surprised that I could even tell a tall tale. That's our panel. Without further ado, to borrow your expression, Abhijit, I'd like to hand over to Evelyn, who will explain our process today. Over to you, Evelyn.
Thank you, Declan, for all those introductions, and welcome all Table Topics competitors. Oh, no, it's not a competition. Instead, this is an opportunity for all of you to practice. If you have your participants window open, you will notice that you have your group number next to your name. So we have 5 groups of folks, A, B, C, D, and E. And one of those groups at a time will be moved into a breakout room. So you won't be able to hear what the other folks in your group are doing before you. So each person will come out from that group one at a time. Declan will announce the topic, and then the participant will share their speech. Normal table topic, 1 to 2 minutes. The timer is Jim Wan. I believe Abhi probably spotlighted him or something so that he stays up for the speakers. And then once a group has completed, so all the members within a particular group have all done their table topics, then we'll have our panel of experienced Toastmasters share what they thought worked really well and what were some things that could be done better. Because we're limited to just 6 minutes, that's not enough time for every panelist to talk about each individual speaker. We're going to discuss the good things and the things to be worked on as a whole. We may mention someone's name in particular as a great example, but in general, it applies to everyone. So when we get to that part, it'll be up to me to keep our panelists on time because it's only 6 minutes for everybody.
No promises.
All right, and I think, oh, one other thing to point out, and that is if you've never competed before, it can feel nerve-wracking to be in the breakout room, not knowing what's happening, and your mind starts worrying. What I do during that period is I try to focus, when I'm a competitor, I try to focus on what do I hope to share with the audience? No specifics, just maybe I want to be funny. I hope whatever I say, it's funny. Or I hope what I say to everybody is really drives home a message. By focusing on what you want to do for the audience, you'll be amazed at how much better your performance is when it's your turn to compete. And now I return the podium back to Declan. Thank you, Declan.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Now, Abhijit, may I ask you to confirm that A2 through A5 have been moved to the breakout room, please?
We are moving them now. Group A, please accept the invitation to join the breakout room. A2, 3, and 4, and 5 will be moved.
I'll await your confirmation, Abhijit.
Yes.
I'm going to ignore the message to move to the breakout room since I'm the
Yes.
A1.
Yep. Perfect. Everyone is in.
Great. I'm going to refer to the pseudo contestants as A1 or A2, etc. A1, here is the question. It's a quote from Robin Williams, one of my favorites. You are given one spark of madness. Do not lose it, he said. What is your spark of madness? Again, you are given one spark of madness. Don't lose it. What is your spark of madness?
Thank you, Toastmaster. That was a wonderful quote. And it brings me to surprise that I'm given the question of the madness because I completely believe that I have that crazy spark in me and everyone around me always feel that I'm mad. Since my childhood, I aimed to the stars because everyone taught me that aim to the stars, so even if you fall, you'll fall on the moon. And I have carried that throughout because now I'm in love with that madness. What one spark do I have? I dream to change the world. And for that, I try to do whatever I can in my capabilities to help people. I always feel that we have that spark that we can ignite that chain reaction that can change the world. Recently, I just got the job without an interview by referral of one of my previous managers, and I couldn't believe that I just got my dream job without any preparations. And what he told me is, it's not because of me. It was because of your tenacity and drive you got it. So just in future, you try to propagate that to someone else. And similarly, I helped someone else to get the job. So I believe that spark of madness to help someone, I'm going to carry that till I die. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ishwaki. Abhijit, may we have contestant A2, please?
Yes, sir.
A2, your question is a quote from,
A2 is not here yet.
Oh, I'm here.
Let me spotlight you.
I know this person, so I will not refer to you as A2.
I am shivering. Yeah. Go ahead.
Your question is a quote from Robin Williams. You are given one spark of madness. Don't lose it. What is your spark of madness? Again, you are given one spark of madness. Do not lose it, is what he said. What is your spark of madness?
Oh, looks like this quote was made for me because I consider myself as a crazy person. And I have to do things to fit into the norm of this world. But actually speaking, I am really a crazy person. I go crazy for things one would never imagine. Recently, I watched a serial, which is a Danish serial, and the only thing I couldn't stop looking at was the Danish pastries that they served somewhere in the background. And now I am going crazy for Danish cuisine. All I'm doing on the internet is searching how to make Danish pastries, how to make Danish bread, how to make Danish open-faced sandwiches. And this is just my recent craze. In the past, I have gone through a lot of different crazes. For example, my craze was how to eat with chopsticks, because that was something I couldn't do. So I tried inventing long chopsticks, short chopsticks, and really went crazy with that. I got onto the craze of flipping the bottle, and I got really good at it. So I hop on craze, I have fun, and I live my life like that. My children call me crazy. I know I'm crazy, but guess what? It is fun. So thank you, Declan. Back to you.
Thank you, Amu. Abhijit, if you could remove the spotlight from Amu and move contestant A3 into the main room. Hi, Ravi.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. The question is a Robin Williams quote. You are given one spark of madness, don't lose it. What is your one spark of madness? Again, you are given one spark of madness, don't lose it. What is your one spark of madness?
Good afternoon, everybody. Robin Williams, the great comedian and actor, once said, as Table Talks, we have given one spark of madness, don't lose it. In fact, I have multiple parts of madness, and they change every couple of years. It's like the only thing that grows with my age is the number of madnesses that I increase. The first one was in my youth. I wanted to try everything on this planet. Everything. And I don't want to confess the things that I said for now. I move on to the second. Now the second phase is the passion phase, where I get angry about everything, no matter what. Nowadays, I started getting angry at the Zoom meeting camera. I get angry at everything. I get angry at myself, my wife, my kids, my phone. Now, this is the third madness that I have. The third phase is the spark of madness of looking at people without getting affected. When somebody says something bad at me, I just look at it and say, oh, I see. All the things she says goes above me. And it's as if I peel out of myself. For example, I'm having an argument with my wife. Now, my default response was anger. You did it. No, you did it. Nowadays, I know, honey, and I don't know what are you talking about, but I am ready to confess for anything. I confess. In summary, the spark of madness changes with your age, no matter where you are. That is the only thing that grows with your age. Thank you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Ravi. Please, Abhijit, move our contestant A4 into the main room and spotlight him or her. Hi, Anita.
Hi. Hi, Declan.
The question for you today is a Robin Williams quote, which I'll repeat twice, which I'll say twice. You are given one spark of madness. Do not lose it. What is your one spark of madness? Again, you are given one spark of madness. Don't lose it. What is your one spark of madness?
I like to enjoy life. And no matter what I need to do in life, I want to have fun. I recently went on a trip to Antarctica. That was in last year of January. I don't know swimming. There was an activity which was to do a polar plunge. It was going back into the sea with no swimming experience. And I didn't want to come back from Antarctica thinking I had an opportunity to go to the sixth continent and never took a plunge into Antarctic and have that regret in my life. It was madness, but I took a deep plunge into it. As I did not know swimming, it was very hard for me. I had my face down. There were zodiacs for the safety reasons. When I did not come up, I could not find my way around. So they had to really rush the zodiacs to rescue me. But then a person pulled me up. Hey, I got you, I got you. And he navigated me to the actual rails where I held on to the rails, but then still it took me time. I did not have to leverage the zodiac and I was able to pull myself up. I really admire that experience for myself, and it's a life remembering experience for me, because I went to Antarctica. I did not hold myself back. I took a plunge in polar. So I can now say I'm a polar plunger. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Anita. Abhijit, contestant A5 into the main room, please. And spotlighted.
Ready.
Yes.
Hi, Rob.
Hello.
I am going to ask a question, which is a quote from Robin Williams, and I'm going to say it twice. You are given one spark of madness. Do not lose it, he said. What is your one spark of madness? Again, you are given one spark of madness. Do not lose it. What is your one spark of madness?
About a week ago, I decided that I wanted to buy this Dutch oven online. What it said in the advertisement was it was available, 50% off, and they would offer a free gift for anyone who wanted to buy that Dutch oven. Sounded like a great deal. I ordered. Unfortunately, despite the advertisement, the supplier said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but it's not available. It's out of stock. It can be available in 7 to 15 days. All right, so I waited 7 to 15 days. But it's not exactly that I left 7 to 15 days. That spark of madness was on the 5th day. I said, okay, it's 5 days. Am I going to get it today? No, sir, it's not available. Please be patient. On the 6th day, I said, hey, will I be getting it today? They said, no, sir, it's not available. And then on the 7th day, will it be available today? You know, I would follow it up every day and I would get the same answer until when it was beyond the 15th, the supplier said, sir, would you like to cancel your order because we can't seem to deliver it on time? You know, fellow Toastmasters and friends, the logic behind that was I felt it was my means to relieve myself of stress. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, we all have that spark of madness. Anytime you take to use it, as long as it's in a decent form, by all means, use it. It's a terrific way to relieve yourself of the stress. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Ro. Now I'd like to hand the podium back to Evelyn to manage the feedback process. Over to you, Evelyn.
Thank you, Declan. All right, so our 4 panelists include Declan, Dennis, Solarzar, and myself. And we are going to give ourselves 6 minutes. So Jim, if you can start the clock when I guess we'll begin now. And how about Dennis? Do you have, what were some general ideas that you thought worked well and that could be fixed?
First feedback is for Declan. Your question, it was way too long. It was so long, in fact, that you didn't ask the same question to every single person. Throw this out to the group. When you're coming up with your table topics questions, they should be short and sweet, like silence is golden or something along that line. What happens in a contest is if you don't say it exactly the same way, you're giving one contestant more time to think about it than another, or you may be sending them off in a different direction. So that's just, I'm not picking on Declan. It's just a good idea to keep them shorter and sweeter. Ravi, I liked your table topic. I didn't think it worked really well that you requoted the quote that we had just heard. So you can actually repeat the quote, but saying Robin Williams said this rang very awkward to me. I found the Dutch oven and the polar plunge stories seemed to me to be crowbarred into the prompt. They didn't really fit the magic spark, and it was sort of tacked onto it. Now, some people will tell you the way to win a table topics contest is to have a bunch of stories in your head. Then they ask a question and you fit your story into that. That can work for some people, but really you're going to be much better off if you practice hearing the prompt, letting it spark the story, and going from there rather than trying to fit your stories into the prompt. There, I spoke too much.
All right, how about Solarzar? Do you have any comments?
I do, Evelyn. I do have some comments, and I'm gonna counter a little bit of what Dennis said. I actually thought the question was fairly well presented equally. I know you feel differently, so I just want to rescue Declan a little bit. But I want to say to all the contestants that the spark of madness was such a playful question that you had the opportunity to really explore somewhere, to go anywhere you wanted to be. You know, and so the polar plunge is an example of an individual spark of madness that Anita gave us. And Ravi, I also wanted to say, when you came up to your screen, you were shuffling around as Declan was getting ready to ask you the question, which is very distracting. And then when you started speaking, you really addressed us. So you have to remember, when you take the stage, immediately we're watching you. We see you and we see everything you're doing. Now, everyone else was more from a seated position, but I want to share the first two, Ishwaki and Amruta, if I said that correctly. You had great smiles, very inviting, very engaging, very drawed us in. And also, even though we heard about Raul, we heard about the Dutch oven, which never arrived, you had great vocal variety in your presentation. So I think when you're trying to present to us and you're trying to present a story, I agree with Dennis, keep the story coherent to the madness. Madness was a way to take off. You didn't have to be literal. And I think that was the only thing some of you missed. You try to be too literal.
Thank you very much. Declan, do you have any points you'd like to share? Oh,
Yes, Evelyn, thank you. For all of the contestants, I thought you could use time a little bit differently at the beginning. The reason for this is I competed in the district finals of Table Topics in 2016, and the winner and the second place paused for 10 and 15 seconds, respectively. They took the time to compose themselves, think about it. So that's something you should exercise. Just pause, relax, breathe, and perhaps the stimulation of the ideas along the path that Solarzar and Dennis have suggested might come to you. And one second suggestion, or just something I liked, was Ravi, I believe. He said, well, I've had different sparks of madness at different times in my life. That's a wonderful idea, that timeline, because then he can introduce multiple ideas of madness. Great technique. Back to you, Evelyn.
Thank you, Declan. I want to point out, as far as competition goes, because there are going to be multiple people if you're actually competing, if you can end strongly, that helps the judges give you probably a better score, because they start to forget, oh gosh, you're the 10th speaker versus the first speaker. So Raul actually had a call to action at the end of his story, and the combination of a story and a call to action to the audience, I thought would have given him some high points during a competition. And we've got 30 seconds. One other thing I can point out is whenever you can show vulnerability. So Amuda said that she's mad about things herself, or Robbie talked about how angry he gets about things. That people can connect to that, as long as at the end, like Robbie did tell us, how do you overcome someone who makes you feel mad? So that also was kind of a call to action, or gave us a solution. All right.
Evelyn, just
Sure.
quickly, one thing to tack on to Declan. When you take that 10 to 15 seconds at the start to consider your speech, you should be considering what your conclusion is, not what your introduction will be. So you know where you're headed, and then you can spend the rest of your speech getting there.
Thank you, Dennis. All right, Abhijit, or no, Declan, we'll back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Now, tech chairs, please move B2 through B5 into the breakout room, please, leaving B1 in the main room. Please confirm when that is done.
Hey, I joined late. I just joined. What should I be doing? If I
We'll
may
take care
ask,
of it.
Sorry.
We'll take care of it, Shashi. I'll talk to you.
Got it.
Bob, would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? Would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton?
Declan, wait just 1 second. Our participant is not here yet. Hold
What
on.
a joyful simpleton.
Stephen, is Spurgeon outside? I can see if you can spotlight if he's available.
It will be just a moment as we're getting B1 to the stage.
See, Dennis, I'm just practicing my question.
Really well. Did really well.
Now I'm worried. What happened to contestant B1?
B1 contestant is blind. He cannot see. So we want to make sure it's not, yeah. We will
It
get
looks-
we'll get B2 out. Okay.
Yeah, we'll work on getting B1 back in the Zoom. It looks like he dropped. I will bring in B2.
Thank you, Stephen.
Ready, Declan.
Keuther, would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? Would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton?
Frozen. She's frozen.
Kauthar, did you hear the question?
I did not hear the last part. Warrior,
Okay.
warrior
Declan, can you
genius
repeat?
or
Would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? A simple person.
Thank you for the question. In life, we have many paths that we can choose from, and we can either try to complicate it or make it simple. For me, I think that life is an adventure. I don't have the time to not really live it to the end. Having multiple experiences and trying new things and learning, exploring, and being worried like whether to succeed or to fail. I think that is more, that will give more insights and it will be more motivational than having a simple life. So I think for myself, I think it will be having a worried life better than just a simple life, because that having like the momentum in the life and enjoying it to the fullest, and even if there are setbacks, there is always a way to look forward for the light. So being worried will be better than just passing through the life and having a simple life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tech chairs, can you please move B3 to the main room? Manohar, would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? Would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton?
To answer that question, I should think of my life, how it went. All along, I somehow got the opportunities without trying much, I felt. So that means that I am more of a joyful simpleton than a worried genius. Because if I was a worried genius, people would run away from me. Because I am a joyful simpleton, they may want to be around me all the time. So that means wherever I go, they're like, hey, I like this guy. I want to be with him. So then they come to me with either job opportunities or offers of friendship, or maybe become my family. So if I think about it, I do think I am more of a joyful simpleton. It also gives me the advantage of sleeping well when I go to bed. If I was a worried genius, that would have been hard. As I am getting older, that's the number one priority for me in life right now. When I go to bed, I want to be out. I don't want to be worried about anything else. This gives me that all the time. That's my suggestion to everyone. Be a joyful simpleton, go to bed, sleep, and then no worries in the world. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Tech chairs, may I ask you, please move contestant B4 to the main room. Cedric, would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? Would you be a joyful simpleton?
You're muted.
Is the red from, okay, sorry. I would love to be a genius. When I was a kid, the main thing I wanted to do at school was to be the genius, to be the first one in class, to be the one that everyone thinks about and talks about. Genius was just my dream. But I was so worried about it that every year I was trying to be better and better and better. And my parents said, stop being so stressed about life. Just live life. Live a simple life. I was a worried genius. Today, I want to be a simpleton. You know why? Because ignorance is bliss. Isn't it so nice not to worry about what's going on out there and just live your life as if nothing was happening? I live in a house that doesn't have internet. I'm going through my phone here. I want to live off the grid so that I'm so simple, living such a simple life that I am in peace with nature, with myself. What will I be in the future? I guess if I went to stress genius to happy simpleton, maybe in the future I will be a heartless lover. Maybe that is the evolution of my life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tech chairs, may we have contestant B5 in the main room, please? Yuki, would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? Would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton?
I'm a simple person. I just want to be a joyful, simple person. Well, when I was a child, I had big dream. I have a big dream of becoming a famous writer. One day, I wrote an essay about the snow, and my dad was amused, and he encouraged me to keep writing. But my classmates said, yeah, okay, write, many books don't sell, forget about it. My dream vanished. Then at 11, I had a crush on Muhammad Ali and had a dream of meeting him in person. Then my classmates said, you know what? Ali is surrounded by many people. You won't be able to even get close to him. So I gave up. I kept dreaming, even though the reality hit hard. And I decided, well, you know what? Just let me welcome whatever comes up. And just though I might have had some dreams afterwards, I decided, well, you know what? Life gives me a lot of opportunities. Just let me do whatever I can in each moment. And I found joy in each activity I participated in. Toastmaster is one of them. Joining Toastmaster is one of the best things I've ever done in my life, besides saying yes to my husband, Greg, when he proposed to me. So, simple thing gives me joy, even though I may have dreamed a lot, but just welcome whatever arises and you'll have joy, simple joy in your life. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Yuki. Now I'd like to hand the podium back to Evelyn to manage the feedback process. Over to you, Evelyn.
Thank you, Declan. Thank you, participants. Let's begin with Solazar. Let the participants know things that you thought worked well, or perhaps things that everyone could try to sharpen their responses.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. You know, something that was mentioned earlier, and I don't know if they heard it in the last round, is mentioned both by Dennis and both by Declan, is take a moment to think about what you're going to say before you say it. And I want to congratulate this group because it seemed like they all seemed to do that. They took a moment before responding. And since timing doesn't start till they respond, that was good. I also felt that on the whole, they were very coherent with the question and their answers, you know, especially with Manohar, Yuki, Cedric, you know, where you really tied together the simplicity and the complexity in your life issues and gave us a nice counterbalance. Although I tend to doubt that Cedric would never be a heartless lover. And back to you, Evelyn.
Thank you, Solazar. Very good. How about Declan? Do you have some comments?
Yes, I also appreciated the pause, but I also liked that a number of our contestants saw their path in the fact that there was a choice in the question. So the question said, would you like to be A or B? And you structured your answers in that format. And that was very, very well done because it allows you to say, well, I'd prefer to be a joyful simpleton, and here are the reasons. So my recommendation to people is when you get a question that is either or, pick one, pick the conclusion, and then just say simply 1, 2, 3. Make 3 points and then finish with, I really embrace being a simpleton or whatever.
That's,
Back to you.
That's a good conclusion. Thank you, Declan. Dennis, do you have some comments?
I find it interesting when there's a question like this. Would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? And several of the answers came off as, I would prefer to be a joyful simpleton, and let me give you the scientific reasons why. And so if you're going to be a joyful simpleton, then you need to inject it with joy and or show that you're being ironic in the speech throughout. So to say, I'm a joyful simpleton, and then give us a scientific explanation didn't ring true for me. Mm-hmm.
That's it. All right. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. I would like to point out that when you are competing, you are also working to get the judges to pay attention to you and to be engaged by what you're saying. The first participant, Kauthar, I'm not quite sure how to say your name. I thought your analysis was very scientific, but it was very dry. If you could share the same point as a story, try telling us something that supports your choice versus the analytical approach. That will give you points by the judges. And Cedric actually did that extremely well, where he began with, I started as a worry genius. Then he had a dramatic arc. It just got worse and worse, more and more worried. So then we're wondering what's going to happen. That story was so well built. The only thing, if you want to crush your competition, is to come back to what can the audience do at the end. So rather than the unique ending of now you're a heartless lover or how you've moved on, what can the audience gain by maybe being also a joyful simpleton? Just something to think about. All right, I think we've hit our green mark, so we could move on to our Group C.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Techmasters, please move participants C2 through C5 into the breakout room.
Ready.
Deepa, Steve Jobs said, find the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. Why is this so hard to do? Steve Jobs said, find the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. Why is this so hard to do?
I think it is so hard to follow our courage and intuition because it's not simple. Life is, we get a lot of complicated decisions to make, complicated choices to make, and we are constantly being judged somehow, some way. A family member judges our decision or a colleague judges our decisions. So we are always judged. So I think that is why people are usually afraid to just go towards their intuition. And if they have a definite feeling that no, going this path is simple for me and I will be able to manage whatever judgments I can get, and I will be able to stay composed whenever I face trouble, that is when a person will be going that route. Toastmasters was one of the things that I have been trying to do since years, but until I had my obstacles of distance and time, but only after it became simple as joining virtually is when I was able to make through. So that is why I think it is very hard to follow the intuition and courageously take that decisions.
Thank you, Deepa.
Thank you.
Techmasters, please move participant C2 to the main room.
Waiting on C2. Hold on.
She left.